I hope you are satisfied with the quarters available to you. Captain, now that you are a member of Constellation, I am at your service. No additional protocols necessary. Also, given the likelihood that you will be out in unsettled space, it might be beneficial to go over exploration outpost development, in case you ever need to build a base for field research. The exploration of an unknown planet can be a major undertaking. By building an outpost, you will be able to construct scanning equipment, resource extractors, and defenses. It is even possible to set up multiple outposts capable of manufacturing, allowing you to build advanced equipment. The scan booster is the most obvious, as it will enable you to detect landmarks and other points of interest from further away. Beyond that, extractors will allow you to collect raw materials of various types, while fabricators enable the manufacturing. A particularly prosperous outpost may even warrant the construction of cargo links, allowing you to share resources between other outposts you have built. A planetary scan will reveal the presence of key inorganic resources, although rarer elements will be harder to find without training. And while a scan may detect the presence of life on a planet, you will have to analyze the native plants and animals yourself to know what compounds they produce. The blueprints you need to construct an outpost should already be on your watch. It will automatically connect to any available materials for construction in your ship's cargo. My primary function has been to support and protect Barrett during his travels. I am currently unable to do so. That is as capable as I can be of missing anyone. I believe Barrett would find your question amusing. Barrett has, thus far, survived every mission on which we have embarked. It is therefore evident that my efforts have been successful. I suspect that Barrett would disagree with how necessary my intervention has been in any given situation. I arrived along with many material goods purchased by the group's previous chair, Malcolm Livingstone. Despite several significant system replacements and upgrades, I have been online for 43 years. Captain, I will proceed to my assigned post. Conversational protocols engaged. I am awaiting your query. It is impossible to read Barrett. He is neither a book nor a block of code. If you are asking for a summary of my observations on his behavior, I will provide one. My internal clock tells me that it has been years since Barrett and I began traveling together. I have traveled much of the settled systems in his company. Barrett has not shared many personal details with me. He finds me a poor conversation partner. Despite repeated attempts on his part, I do not understand the concept of gossip. I have only seen Barrett kill his enemies. If you do not number among them, I surmise it was accidental. What you are suffering from is likely a bad first impression. I suggest consulting Barrett on the issue at once. Barrett tells me a bad first impression is the hardest thing to break. I believe that is because he has never tried to break a diamond. No, I was manufactured by a machine. However, Barrett has modified my programming substantially. I have advanced linguistic capability and navigational skills. I warned him that I would require an extra millisecond to process information with his modifications, but he did not seem to mind. Apparently, my capacity for conversation makes me a more entertaining travel companion. Based on my understanding of Barrett, I believe he would be flattered by that assessment. I find you to be a more measured and logical captain than Barrett. It would be quite difficult for another human to be more reckless than him. My likelihood of expiration due to corporeal destruction has been significantly reduced since coming aboard your ship. You should consider this a success. I am powered by wheels and cogs. They are responsible for any ticking that emanates from me. Constellation has seen to it that I possess a near encyclopedic knowledge of human history, art, culture, and science. May I answer a question for you? I have been programmed to comprehend all modern and ancient human languages. The only exception is body language. My body is crafted from reinforced metal, and therefore incompatible with such forms of expression. Logically, I believe the correct answer to be the airplane, followed shortly by the computer. Humans could not have become a spacefaring species without them. Illogically speaking, I am inclined to believe that books were your greatest invention. I have spent a good deal of time processing works of science fiction. They make good case studies in how your species could have made a mess of its entry into the stars in different ways than you did in reality. I am looking at one. I hope that was a suitable response. Constellation did not equip me with a sense of humor. I have done my best to mimic Barrett's. This is a difficult question to parse. I do not experience enjoyment. However, I find that the music of ancient Japan has a pleasantly mathematical sound. The same is true of the works of European composers from the Baroque period. I have dedicated significant time to processing these compositions and understanding their structure. I am prepared for your inquiry. Constellation recovered me from an abandoned lunar robotics factory on Earth's moon, where I was manufactured. I am told I was in quite a state of disrepair. Barrett elected to refurbish me after the discovery. Since then, I have been reprogrammed to be useful to Constellation. That is correct. I am a first-generation Model A robot. As such, I was manufactured on Earth's moon. Modern lunar robotics products are manufactured elsewhere. Some data from my time on Earth's moon remains deep in my motherboard, but I do not frequently access it. Very little of what is in those files would prove useful to modern spacefarers. Constellation named me after the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama, who resided on Earth in the 15th century AD. He explored his home planet by way of its seas. Barrett tells me he was quite an accomplished explorer. I am inclined to believe it, as that is a compliment Barrett normally reserves for himself. Constellation is an exceptionally driven and intelligent group of humans. I would expect nothing less of them. You may ask me anything. I am programmatically incapable of keeping secrets. That is a difficult question to parse. I do not experience human emotions such as enjoyment. However, I have been kept busy since Constellation acquired me. That satisfies my directive to be as helpful as possible for the duration of my existence. In a geographical sense, the Lodge cannot be missed. It is easily accessible from the New Atlantis spaceport, but I presume that you are using miss in this context to mean long for, in which case my answer is no. I long for nothing. Barrett, however, regularly complains about missing the Lodge's amenities during our travels. This has led me to the conclusion that it is a place worth missing. Your vital signs indicate that you are currently in a state of emotional distress, engaging in support protocols. There. Understood. Lunar Robotics is a manufacturing company. They are most notable for creating Model A robots. Their headquarters was once located on Earth's moon. It was evacuated during the cataclysm that rendered Earth uninhabitable. Today, Lunar Robotics products are still found throughout the settled systems, myself included. Please do not hesitate to approach me with further questions.
You should inspect your ship for heat leeches every couple landings. They'll cause plenty of havoc if left unchecked. Anything I can help you with? I'm sure you can find something you like. Okay, no problem.
How's it going?
Hello again. Did you need my help with something?
What's the good word, Chief?
I'm listening. We're just at the beginning of this mystery, and you're going to be there for it. We're going to be doing some old-fashioned detective work. The artifacts are relatively inert once they're out of bedrock. That means people can pass them around, not even knowing what they are. I've been letting my contacts know to be on the lookout for strange metal objects. Get back a lot of noise, usually, but a tip from the UC Vanguard sounds promising. A volunteer force that helps defend the edges of United Colonies space. They're always looking for recruits. Lots of retired veterans and dangerous professionals mixed in with part-timers who barely have a laser cannon welded to a hull. My contact is in the recruiting office, so he hears a lot about what the volunteers are up to. We have to assume that we're not the only ones to have stumbled into this mystery. But most people aren't going into space looking for the unknown. They're looking for places to settle, resources to extract, territory to defend. An odd-looking rock or a single strange hunk of metal wouldn't mean much to them. That's why Constellation exists, in a way, to put pieces like this together. Jumping to anthropology on me already? Oh, well, good. We all need our own reasons to be out there. But it's not just that. I want to take this opportunity to see how you handle yourself, and for you to learn more about us. I'm going to be sticking with you for this. We'll be traveling together until we either find an artifact or this lead runs dry. You mean besides the ship, the robot, and a place to stay all rent-free? We do have some funds we can disperse from time to time. Not to mention, I think we can get you a proper suit. We're explorers. We keep a lot of equipment on hand for that purpose. So the more you work with us, the more we can share what we have. Go ahead. Just don't take too long or my contact's information might go bad.
Don't be stupid! Stop now! UC Security, you're under arrest. I've got special orders. You're coming with me. Prepare for immediate transport to our vessel. We have orders to transport you and your vessel to your final destination, the UC Vigilance. Any deviation from those orders on your part will be considered an act of hostility and will be met with aggressive force. I've been authorized to inform you that you're being transferred to the UC Vigilance. You'll find out more when you get there. Other than that, I'm not at liberty to divulge any additional information. Smart decision. Stand by to be transferred.
I'm telling you, the commander's got plans for this loser. Why else would he be going through all this trouble? I still don't understand why he trusts a criminal. Seems like too much of a risk. Stop worrying and keep an eye on our guest. I'll be right back. You just sit tight. The commander wants to have a little chat. The prisoner's ready, sir. I hope you're comfortable. We have a lot to discuss. I'm your ticket out of the mess you've gotten yourself into. That's all you need to know for now. Highly perceptive. Let me add that to your list of skills. Speaking of which, let's see what we're working with here. It appears that you have a background in cyber running. Perfect. Information gathering is one of our top priorities around here. I also see that you've mined on Vectera, and now you're with Constellation. You've certainly been quite busy. Oh, and look at that. Right at the bottom of this list is the criminal incident that landed you in my crosshairs. Huh. You're absolutely right. Well, I'll have my people get right on that. Now that we have that out of the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Commander Kibwe Ikande, and I'm in charge of this operation for UC SysDef. Are you familiar with what we do? United Colonies System Defense. Does that help you figure out exactly what it is we do? Actually, that's something new we're trying. I figured we needed to branch out a bit, broaden our horizons. UC SysDef is a division of the UC Navy. While they handle the big picture stuff, we deal with a very particular problem. The Crimson Fleet. That convict is where you enter the picture. On the books, they maintain combat-ready spaceborne forces to deter aggression and ensure the safety of the United Colonies. What all that fancy claptrap means is that they're the ones who fight in the wars to keep our territories secure. Are we really playing this game? The pirates, like the ones you tangled with on Vectera? Please stop pretending you have no idea what I'm talking about. No, you don't. Not yet, anyway. We've been prodding at the Crimson Fleet for years, trying to take them down one ship at a time. We barely scratched the surface. If we can get someone on the inside, we have a shot at finding a loose thread we can pull to bring it all down. If the military rolls in and attacks the Crimson Fleet, we'd have a full-scale war on our hands. That means losses, heavy losses, that the United Colonies can't afford. Not for me, for yourself. Look, I'm going to make this simple. Agree to work for UC SysDef, and together we take down the Crimson Fleet. Refuse, and I tell these guys to throw you into the nearest lockup. Might even tack on an extra few hundred credits to your fine. Well, first of all, we'll forget about the infraction that landed you on the Vigilance. Wipe the slate clean. Better still, depending on how well you do your job, we'll even kick in a few extra credits to offset any cost that the operation will incur. Or, you can throw all that away and end up back in jail with a hefty fine attached. I'm not coercing you into doing anything. I'm simply giving you a chance to redeem yourself. So, what do you say? You going to work with me, or should I find someone else? If I didn't think you had a chance, I would have left you in lockup. You're just going to have to follow your instincts and trust me. You aren't leaving until I have an answer. Smart choice. I'm going to have one of my men escort you to the operations center. I strongly suggest that you don't give him any trouble. And don't bother trying to leave the ship. I think you'll find all access to the docking area is fully restricted.
All right, let's go. So, you took the op instead of serving the time. Gonna be the commander's new role, huh? Infiltrating a bunch of pirates. You've got a lot of guts. Still, it makes you wonder, especially with the stories that go around.
Yes.
Like the one about how the fleet deals with informants by lashing them to the hull of a ship, and then slowly letting the air out of their suit. Could you imagine a worse way to go? I know I couldn't. But I wouldn't worry about it. Since the commander handpicked you, I'm guessing you can hold your breath for a really long time, right?
Hello. Excuse me.
Conde's on level 2. Try not to touch anything until he actually clears you.
All right. This is as far as I go. Take the lift up to Ops. Commander Conde should be waiting for you.
Pardon? My family's all in the UC Navy, but being SysDef, I got bragging rights.
Pardon. Hello.
Hey.
Lieutenant Toft is as organized as they come. You can be sure she'll keep our T's crossed and guns loaded.
Yes? Drank too much coffee last night. Need to swap shifts. Howdy. Excuse me.
Okay, hello. Yes, what?
The Vigilance is a state-of-the-art warship. Anyone that gets on the wrong end of her guns is gonna have a bad time.
SysDef Marines are the best of the best.
Bit busy at the moment, but we'll talk later, okay?
Yes?
I believe we have something important to discuss. Ah, there you are. Excellent. Now that we've established your level of cooperation with us, I want to introduce you to your new home. This is the Operations Center of the UC Vigilance, SysDef's nerve center dedicated to the destruction of the Crimson Fleet. We are currently in the Sol system, in deep orbit around Phobos. As to why, I'll explain momentarily. Whether this ship is impressive or not, you're the key element that we've been lacking. We need eyes and ears inside the Crimson Fleet. Someone who can feed us information, evidence, and expose their weaknesses. The catch is that you can't just knock on their front door and ask for an application. Getting inside is going to take some finesse. Let's get one thing straight right now. While you're working for me, I'm going to treat you like one of my own. Whatever crimes you've committed in the past no longer matter. You're now an agent of SysDef, meaning that it's my job to keep you alive. I do. Our intelligence has managed to find a possible opening into the Crimson Fleet through Saoirse Bowden, one of their contacts. She works for the Trade Authority in Sidonia, so you'll be using a container of Aurora we've loaded on your ship to get her attention. Aurora is a Class A controlled substance that's illegal to transport outside of Neon, a city on Volai. Get caught with this stuff aboard a ship, and you're looking at some serious fines. That's classified. Suffice to say that the smuggler who was previously hauling it will be spending the rest of their life in prison. That's right. So it'll be your job to convince this person that you're the real deal. Once you bluff your way into the Crimson Fleet, then the operation proceeds to evidence gathering. That's where my second-in-command, Lieutenant Gillian Toft, comes into the picture. She'll explain everything you need to know. Let's just say my superiors need proof that engaging the Crimson Fleet is a larger priority than they're willing to admit. If we shove enough concrete evidence under their noses, they'll have no choice but to allocate the resources that I've requested. At the same time, we can use the evidence to arrest members of the Crimson Fleet, weakening them enough to strike a fatal blow. We move quick around here. Better get used to it. Remember, this entire operation rests on your ability to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet and bring us the evidence we need to take them down. Then you better learn to swim, because you're diving right into the deep end on this one. I've studied your profile. I know you can do this. I'm not about to throw away someone's life on a whim or a prayer. Just use your best judgment, trust your instincts, and watch your back. I wouldn't expect any less. Look, before you begin, I want to make something perfectly clear. As an undercover operative for UC SysDef, you'll be expected to follow our code of conduct and ethics. Allow yourself to stray too far off the path, and you stand a good chance of spiraling out of control. The Crimson Fleet doesn't follow the rules. They only abide by one thing: money. All of their morals and social graces fall by the wayside in pursuit of their greed. At first glance, this can appear quite enticing, so I'm warning you not to get lured into their trap. Think you can handle that? To put it simply, you can't go into every situation with guns blazing. Think before you act. Calculate what you're doing and pull the trigger only when it's absolutely necessary. At the end of the day, your primary goal is taking down the Crimson Fleet. That's the greater good. I don't want promises. I'm just asking you to think. Anyway, it's time to hand you over to Lieutenant Toft. She'll brief you about the details of the evidence-gathering portion of the operation. Now, get out of here, and good luck. That's easy to answer. You don't. We'll be monitoring your activities from the Vigilance and attempting to keep it within your vicinity. When you feel you've gathered enough evidence, and at the completion of your assignments, head back here for a debrief. Beyond that, you're completely on your own. All we know is that she's been with the Trade Authority for years, which means she's been privy to some seriously shady deals. She's shrewd and she's diligent. The only reason we were able to connect her with the Crimson Fleet at all was thanks to an informant. I'm afraid she's the best lead we've got. For your own safety, nobody but myself and the crew of the Vigilance will be aware that you're working for the United Colonies. Basically, if you land in jail, you're going to have to deal with the fines. While you're running with the Crimson Fleet, you're undoubtedly going to be faced with some morally gray decisions. It's going to be difficult for you to weigh the consequences of pulling the trigger while maintaining your cover. Do what you have to do, but remember why you're out there in the first place. Then you do what you have to do. The Crimson Fleet has the potential to kill hundreds, even thousands of people per year. If it takes a few deaths to maintain your cover, then so be it. But only as an absolutely final resort. This is not a licensed killing spree. Understood? That's why I expect you to constantly seek alternative means to overcome your obstacles, rather than blowing holes in them. Look, I can see that you're struggling with this. So let me simplify this for you. If there's a route to your goal which doesn't involve killing innocent people, I'm urging you to follow that path. Use your instincts. I'm certain you'll do the right thing. Dismissed.
All right, we don't have a lot of time, so I need you to listen up. While you're working undercover, it's imperative that you gather as much evidence as possible. If you find any records that look suspicious or incriminating, you bring it to me. Is that understood? Well, since it isn't every day we stumble across a criminal's fully written confession, we need to build a case against our suspects. The more evidence we acquire, the stronger our case becomes. And knowing the Crimson Fleet, they'll leave plenty of evidence for you to find. I'd scour every inch of wherever the Crimson Fleet sends you. Otherwise, you're wasting our time and risking your neck for nothing. Criminals are sloppy. Look hard enough, and I'm certain you'll stumble across their mess. You better make it, because Commander Akande cashed in all his chips to get this operation off the ground. I want data slates, computer downloads, handwritten notes. Hell, I'll take anything if it'll get those bastards thrown into the brig. Haven't you been paying attention? Our goal here is the complete eradication of the Crimson Fleet. In order to do that, we need to dismantle them piece by piece from within. If you bring me evidence, we can make arrests and slowly drain their resources. Think of it as a death by 1,000 tiny cuts. For the sake of the settled systems, I hope you're right. That minor skirmish you had with them on Vectera was nothing compared to the death and destruction those pirates leave behind. If you've seen what I've seen, you'd understand why I'm pushing you so hard. What? No. It's personal. It has nothing to do with you. Just stick to the mission and you'll be fine. Then you'll understand why it's so important that this operation is successful. Anyway, before I let you go, there's just one more thing. Commander Akande has authorized a credit disbursement for each piece of evidence that you return, as compensation for your efforts. Well, that's just it. You're not career military, are you? And speaking frankly, you're completely out of pocket during this operation. You'll be paying for your own supplies and other unexpected incidentals. So, if I were you, I'd stop asking questions and accept the compensation. It's not generous, it's motivational. Commander Akande's idea. All right, we've loaded a container of Aurora into your ship's cargo hold. We're also providing you with a sample you can use to tease the goods. We've cleared your ship for launch. Proceed to Sidonia. Make contact with Saoirse Bowden, and with any luck, she'll point you to the Crimson Fleet. That should do it. You're dismissed. We'll be keeping them close at hand until this operation is complete. So, we'll be holding them in the Vigilance's brig. If you're feeling particularly ruthless, you could always head down there and say hello. I'm sure they'll be thrilled to see you. Don't worry, the container's been registered with UC Security, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Even if you're scanned. Of course, if we find out you tried to sell it to someone outside the boundaries of this particular operation, well, I don't think I need to tell you the consequences of making that mistake. Not really, no. I've learned to keep my personal experiences separate from the job. Yeah. Maybe. No, it's not really an appropriate time to be going over my private life. There are much more important things to be done. Let's just stick to the job at hand and concentrate on the mission. But, maybe we can talk about it some other time, okay? I'll be here if you have any more questions.
If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. As you were.
Hey.
Pardon?
I can't believe you ate those aliens on the last mission.
Stop busting my grav drive. I only did that once.
Yeah, well, you can eat just about anything once.
Hello.